Ooh, do we have a good one for you today, ladies and gentlemen? You know, yesterday we spent pretty much the entire show talking about NASCAR. Now, what I cannot do is promise you that we're not going to talk NASCAR. Because, well, there's always something happening in NASCAR. It's always something. So, we're not going to start with it. I got you. We have a lot of other things to talk about. Okay, there are a lot of soccer tournaments going on. We have the Euros, 2024 Euros, the Copa America later on tonight. We have Wimbledon going on. I don't know how many people have been paying attention to Wimbledon, but we're in the quarterfinals. Also, some NBA news. I know this is kind of, a little late in the offseason for some interesting NBA news. We didn't have a chance to talk about it yesterday. This was actually from over the weekend. There was a trade that involved Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson, part of the Golden State Warriors and that dynasty. Yes, it is a dynasty. Well, the dynasty is no more officially, as Klay Thompson is no longer going to be a part of the Golden State Warriors. He was traded. But within that trade, we have a lot to cover. Because, well, the Hornets were also part of the trade. So were the Minnesota Timberwolves. So were the Philadelphia 76ers. And the Denver Nuggets. It's a lot of teams that were part of this trade. Mavericks, Timberwolves, Warriors, Nuggets, Hornets, and 76ers. Yes, for the first time in history, there was a 6-team trade in the NBA, which means there's a lot of moving parts here to digest. And the Hornets are a part of that trade, getting a couple of players and a couple of picks for their troubles. 844-STUDIO-4, that's 844-788-3464. We have some breaking news as well out of Major League Baseball that we're going to talk about regarding the Home Run Derby and the All-Star Game, which is next week. Monday will be the All-Star, or if Monday will be the Home Run Derby, Tuesday, the All-Star Game. Not sure why we have an All-Star Game on a Tuesday, but I don't make the schedule, as we found out. Sometimes I have a problem with scheduling in the world of sports. I don't know if I'm going to be upset about this one, but it's definitely interesting to see that there's a big game going on a Tuesday. So we'll talk a little bit about what's going on in Major League Baseball. There's a lot of concern, a lot of growing concern for the New York Yankees and their slump, and they have been the worst team in baseball since mid-June here. Doesn't look like they're getting any better anytime soon as the Red Sox put a beating on them. We also, we have a little bit of NHL news. This one's kind of fun regarding the Florida Panthers, your Stanley Cup champions, and an announcement of New Era and the NHL having a multi-year agreement for lifestyle brands, for headwear and apparel for all 32 teams. So I'm assuming hats and whatnot will be made by New Era for a while, as the new deal that was announced today. It's a multi-year deal, and it begins in the 2024-2025 season. So I guess in one of the most successful years that the NHL had, they're starting to branch out a little, and they're starting to get some more media deals here and some more deals to try and bring some more money into the sport. The salary cap in the NHL is an interesting one. We talked a little bit about this in the past, how the cap is not expected to go up for a couple of years until escrow's paid off from the COVID season. That is done now. So next year, the jump in the salary cap is expected to be significant. And why not? When you see new deals like this getting signed, ESPN last year getting the NHL for the first time in a while. So the NHL is on the up and up here, it seems. We also are going to talk about Euros and the Copa Americas. Let's start with the Euros, as there was a game not too long ago, probably about 20 minutes before we got on air here on the scoreboard. Spain and France in a semifinal game. Spain takes down Mbappe and France to move on to the Euro finals. And boy, let me tell you something. There is a kid, Lamine Yamal, for Spain, the youngest player ever to score at a men's European championship earlier today. I don't know how to explain to you how amazing the shot that he took was, because, oh my goodness, 16 years old, bends it around the keeper into the back of the net, tied the game versus France. Spain ends up going on to win and advance to the Euro finals. And Mbappe, once again, not able to get a win with his home country. Remember, he lost the World Cup not too long ago to Argentina and Lionel Messi. By the way, Lionel Messi, later on tonight, is going to be in action in the Copa Americas, because we have Argentina and Canada squaring off at 8 o'clock tonight. This one is in MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. Oh boy, I really hope that they moved some turf, or not some turf, maybe some sod or something like that, because MetLife Stadium is notorious for ending careers due to injuries. You see a lot of torn ACLs. Hey, game number 1 of the Jets season last year was at MetLife Stadium. What happened 4 plays into game number 1 for the Jets? I think it was only 3 plays, actually. Oh, yeah, that's right. Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles. So let's get out of this semifinal matchup without any major injuries. That would be nice. I don't know how they're going to get that to work out, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to be tuning into this one later tonight. Canada advancing in penalties in the earlier round, and now they go to take on Argentina. It should be a very, very good Copa America game. You also, like I said, we had the Euros earlier today. Spain beating France to move on to the finals, and tomorrow you have the Netherlands taking on England, as England moves to the semifinals there. The winner goes on to take on Spain in the finals. We're heading to our first commercial break of the day. You're not going to want to go anywhere. We got to talk about the NBA, the MLB, a little bit of NASCAR. We're going to be all over the place today, so stay tuned. You're listening to The Scoreboard. We'll be back right after this.
This guy knows his sports, right? There's more of The Scoreboard with Joe Berg on the way on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Well, it's just about as humid as it gets around here, and staying grossly humid for a while. You factor that in with low and mid-90s for high temperatures today. Feels like temperatures, heat index values could reach up into the triple digits. So dangerous heat if you're outside and you're not careful. A lot of folks still need some rain even after a lot of that over the weekend, especially the farms and outlying spots. No guarantees, but some better chances with scattered pop-up thunderstorms in the forecast each afternoon this week. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
The WSIC app is available now wherever you get your apps, featuring local deals from great local businesses, like Top Notch Gutters of Statesville.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. This Thursday, July 11th, Untethered Soul makes their Langtree Live debut. The band is a unique, creative, soulful reimagination of the music that shaped American culture. Grab your chairs and head to Langtree in Mooresville for the 7 p.m. performance of Untethered Soul with frontman Nick Prestia. This Friday, Trailers of the East Coast in Mocksville present the Wilson Strong Cookout. From 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., stop by for a barbecue plate and sides in support of Matt Wilson. We'll see you at Trailers of the East Coast in Mocksville this Friday to support Matt with the Wilson Strong Cookout. On Friday, Envision rocks Liberty Park in downtown Mooresville. This first-class dynamic vocal group delivers a high-energy stage show complete with professional choreography and silky smooth harmonies. Liberty Park in downtown Mooresville welcomes you to the Envision concert on Friday night. The Kane Center for the Arts Week 5 of summer camps begins Monday, July 15th. Morning and afternoon camps for ages 4 to 15 include ceramics, drawing, painting, mosaic, mixed media art, and more. The Davidson Community Players present Footloose the Musical on August 8th, 9th, and 10th. For more information on summer camp programs and the theater schedule and tickets, visit canearts.org. That's C-A-I-N arts.org. The Cookout Summer Shootout Series heats up the track each week at Charlotte Motor Speedway. The 10-race series night number 8 is on Tuesday, July 16th. Visit charlottemotorspeedway.com for tickets, details, and information. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
A new show is making its way to WSIC. Tuesdays at 4, join host Patty Alvarez for The Good Soul, a show with in-depth chats with people from all walks of life. Want a sneak peek? Download the WSIC app now and stream The Good Soul podcast. It ain't easy being number one, but we make it look good.
WSIC.
Now more of The Scoreboard with Joe Berg on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for segment number 2 here on the Scoreboard, talking a little soccer as Spain was able to hold off France to advance to the 2024 Euro final. Ooh, that's going to be a good one, whoever they end up playing. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss this, okay? I know we don't talk much soccer, but you're not going to want to miss this. Later on tonight, Argentina and Canada, 8 o'clock on Fox Sports 1. Like I said, that's out in MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. I hope everybody ends up okay because we don't need any Aaron Rodgers injuries in a tournament like Copa America, okay? Please, everybody be okay. And then as we look forward to this weekend, I know it's a long way away, a very long way away. The UEFA European Championship will be played on Sunday at 3 o'clock, and then at 8 o'clock, the Copa America Championship is going to be played. So you're going to have quite a bit of soccer to watch on Sunday if you're interested at all in these leagues. Tomorrow, Copa America, Uruguay versus Colombia. The winner moves on to probably, honestly, I mean, I don't want to jinx anybody, but probably are going to end up facing Argentina. You know, if Canada goes to the Copa finals and the U.S. didn't even make the knockout stage, I think it might be time to hit the panic button for American soccer. We should not be getting bested by Canada. Absolutely not. But hey, we haven't been playing well. You lose to Panama, you lose to Uruguay, and here you are, embarrassed. Tomorrow's game, Uruguay-Colombia, is going to be pretty good, in my opinion. And also tomorrow, the Netherlands and England. Netherlands-England, 3 o'clock. Copa's at 8 o'clock tomorrow night. And the youngest player ever to score in the Euros, we talked about it, 16 years old, technically 17. I mean, come on, 16 years, 362 days. Yeah, he's basically 17, but still, I was not scoring in the Euros when I was 16. That's for sure. I don't know who was. Nobody, because he's the youngest to ever do it. Before that, it was 18 years, 141 days by Johan van Leeuwen, a Swiss player. I think I pronounced that one correct. Johan van Leeuwen. It's a fun name to say right there. Man, 16 years old, and he scores a beautiful goal in the Copa Americas. In the Euros. So later on tonight, tune in to the soccer game if you're interested in that. It'll be Canada. Man, Canada somehow, if they beat Argentina, that would be something. It really would. We're going to move on from the talk of soccer to bring in something else also uses a ball. It's basketball. This was July 6th. So this was over the weekend. We didn't have a chance to get to it on Monday because, we spent so much time talking about the Chicago street race and how things went over there with the rain and the Saturday race and the Sunday race and Alex Bowman somehow winning and Bubba Wallace being mad because Alex Bowman ruined his race. By the way, if the strategy would have played out the same, Bowman was probably going to win, or Wallace was probably going to win that race because he was faster than Bowman. Who's to say? It's not how it shook out. But in the NBA, there was a sign and trade. Okay, so the Golden State Warriors signed Klay Thompson to an extension, and then they immediately traded him, to the Dallas Mavericks. There are 4 other teams involved that help facilitate this deal, one of them being the Charlotte Hornets. So we are going to go through all of this and let you know who ends up getting what. So let's start with the obvious. First of all, Klay Thompson and the 2025 second-round pick go to the Dallas Mavericks. Klay Thompson, sharpshooter, still got a little game left in him, I believe. He would be a nice compliment over there in Dallas as just a stand-up shoot guy. The Minnesota Timberwolves received a 2031 second-round pick swap. 2031. That's 7 years from now. That guy's not even going to be the GM in 7 years. I don't understand how they can trade picks that far away. Who's to say the NBA is even going to be here in 7 years? That's a joke, obviously. Minnesota Timberwolves get a 2031 second-round pick swap, a 2025 second-round pick, and cash. The Golden State Warriors get Kyle Anderson and Buddy Hield. It's a pretty good return, in my opinion. Also, the Denver Nuggets were in this trade. They only got cash. That's the only thing that they got was some cash. Philadelphia 76ers also get a second-round pick in 2031. I just don't understand how you can trade a pick in 2031. I mean, how old are these kids? They're like 11 years old, the ones who are going to be drafted in 2031. I don't even want to think of that. And then the Charlotte Hornets. Charlotte got the most. Now, I don't know if it's great what they got, but they got the most stuff back, basically facilitating all of this. Josh Green and Reggie Jackson come to Charlotte, as well as, ready, a 2029 second-round pick and a 2030 second-round pick. 5 and 6 years away. This team is bad now. We need to get better now. I do have a little bit of a problem with that. How are you trading draft picks in 2030? You're going to go through 2 GMs by then. Maybe 3, the way the Hornets have been recently. It's more comical than anything else because how do you decide how many years in the future that you're going to trade your draft pick? Can I trade a 2050 draft pick? Because I mean, why not? If you're the GM, yeah, trade the 2050 draft pick. You're not going to be here by then. Make the team better now. It doesn't make sense to me. And how the NBA allows this, they got to rethink that. That's just me. I'm probably crazy, like always, because I'm, pretty crazy most of the time, but that's what we deal with right now. So the Hornets get 2 players, 2 draft picks that they're not going to use for 5 years in this trade. And Klay Thompson ends up on the Dallas Mavericks. Buddy Hield ends up on the Warriors. Josh Green, Reggie Jackson end up here in Charlotte. So that was your update on the NBA. There's not all that much going on. Last week, we did talk a little bit about Bronny James and him signing a contract worth about $7.9 million, which is astronomical for somebody who was drafted 55th overall. And for somebody who might not even be playing in the NBA this year. Possible G League. Last thing that we'll talk about is potential 2025 number 1 draft pick Cooper Flagg was stealing the show in Team USA scrimmage over the weekend. He hit a few dunks, hit a few step back threes. Oh, and by the way, he doesn't turn 18 for another 5 months. The Duke commit. Duke is going to be something, that's for sure. Duke is going to be a problem. Cooper Flagg is going to be a problem. That guy might be the next star. He might. I know Victor Wembanyama, we're kind of waiting for him to become the next star. And if he reaches his full potential, he's going to be a handful for a lot of teams. But Cooper Flagg and the athleticism there and the skill set there, Duke got a good one. Who knows? Maybe in 2025, the Hornets will get lucky and get the number 1 overall pick. And if they traded it, that wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't. Anyway, that is your update on the NBA as of today. Not all that much going on around the league. There's still some signings that are being made. A couple of signings and trades here and there. Summer League going on. Charlotte, they do play tonight. If you're interested, they play the Sacramento Kings Squad 1. I don't know how many people are tuning into NBA Summer League action, though. But if you want to, you can watch them on ESPN. Yeah, that's how you know there's not much going on around the world of sports. Because we got Summer League on ESPN. Baseball is happening. And on the other side of the break, we're going to talk a little bit of baseball because we have some concerning teams here, like the New York Yankees, who have fallen off an absolute cliff, and some players opting out of the All-Star game, and another player confirmed to be part of the Home Run Derby. So don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Scoreboard here on WSIC, and when we return, we're going to get into the world of Major League Baseball. And then after that, yes, we got to talk a little NHL and some NASCAR to finish up the show. So don't go anywhere here on this wonderful Tuesday. We'll be back right after this.
More of Sports Director Joe Berg's The Scoreboard is coming up on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Well, it's just about as humid as it gets around here and staying grossly humid for a while. You factor that in with low and mid-90s for high temperatures today. Feels like temperatures, heat index values could reach up into the triple digits. So dangerous heat if you're outside and you're not careful. A lot of folks still need some rain even after a lot of that over the weekend, especially the farms and outlying spots. No guarantees, but some better chances with scattered pop-up thunderstorms in the forecast each afternoon this week. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
At Bunch Johnson Funeral Home, our service to families is second to none. We're here for you when you need it most. Let us help you focus on healing. We'll handle the rest. Bunch Johnson Funeral Home.
President Biden recently released a massive $6 trillion budget, the largest budget in U.S. history. And guess who pays the bill? That's right, you, the American taxpayer. American citizens and business owners will be paying more taxes. That's a fact. And if you owe back taxes, they will be coming after you to collect payments. In fact, President Biden also hired thousands more IRS agents to go after you. If you got a letter from the IRS and you know you owe back taxes or you haven't filed in years, don't put your head in the sand. Call us today. We've saved our customers millions of tax dollars. One quick, free phone call will show you how we can reduce your past tax bill and save you thousands. Guaranteed, or you pay nothing. Call now.
800-218-6440. 800-218-6440. 800.
Breaking news, expert analysis, and the stories that matter most, all in one place.
I totally acknowledge seeing flames is a scary situation.
WSIC News Talk Now.
Attention, fellow conservative investors. What does the name Reagan mean to you? It stands for being the ultimate conservative. It also stands for the Reagan Gold Group. Do you see storm clouds approaching? The stock market hates uncertainty, and there are plenty of reasons to be concerned. High inflation, unstable debt, and economic uncertainty are just a few. You have car insurance, homeowners insurance, and life insurance. But do you have insurance for your retirement savings and your 401k? We urge all fellow conservative investors to learn about the one asset that could help ensure your nest egg doesn't crack under economic pressure. G-O-L-D, gold. Call the one name any conservative investor needs to know about. Reagan Gold Group.
800-296-1557. 800-296-1557. 800-296-1557. That's 800-296.
I'm Bryce Johnson with this Unpacking It Sports and Faith Minute. As sports fans, we love listening to athletes tell inspirational and encouraging stories about their journeys and careers, especially when it involves highs and lows and life change. The truth is, it's not just athletes, but our own stories have the power to encourage others. When we are willing to open up and let others know about how we've overcome challenges, we can be an inspiration to them. As followers of Jesus, this is especially important because we can point others to the defining moments of God's grace and love throughout our journey. Testimonies of Jesus transforming our lives can have a tremendous impact on those we tell. Throughout the New Testament in the Bible, the Apostle Paul made a habit of telling people his story about how Jesus had radically transformed his life. Maybe our own stories aren't as dramatic as Paul's, but if Jesus has changed us, let's tell others. I'm Bryce Johnson, and you can unpack that. For more, go to thesportsdevotional.com.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Labor troubles at the happiest place on earth. Unions representing 14,000 workers at Disneyland in California plan to hold a strike authorization vote next week, but the authorization vote doesn't necessarily mean a strike. Union leadership would have to call for that separately. The vote does bring the prospect of disrupting operations at one of Disney's busiest properties during the summer season. Safety investigators say the Southwest Airlines incident that involved unusual rolling took place in May, 2 days after the plane had undergone regularly scheduled maintenance. After the rolling incident in midair, a maintenance crew found structural damage to the plane's rudder system. The National Transportation Safety Board says it's still trying to figure out just when that happened. On Wall Street, the Nasdaq and S&P continued their record streak with positive finishes of 0.1%. The Dow fell that much, down 53 points. The Nasdaq rose 26, the S&P 4. Joan Doniger, Bloomberg Radio.
It's the Scoreboard with your host, Sports Director Joe Berg on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right, welcome back. It is now the second half here on the Scoreboard on this beautiful Tuesday. 844 Studio 4 is the phone number if you have something that you'd like to call me up and chat about. We just went over the NBA 6-team trade. You heard me correctly. For the first time ever in the history of the NBA, there was one trade involving 6 teams. Somehow the Hornets got the most in return. 844 Studio 4 is the phone number, 844-788-3464. We're going to move on to Major League Baseball real quick, as it was announced earlier today. J-Ram. Everybody knows J-Ram. Jose Ramirez. Jose Ramirez will be participating in his second home run derby. Ramirez is now one of 6 confirmed participants. You have Gunnar Henderson, Pete Alonso, Alec Baum, Bobby Witt Jr., Marcel Ozuna, and now Jose Ramirez of the Guardians. Home Run Derby is on Monday. The All-Star Game is on Tuesday. And I talked a little bit about this. I don't remember if it was yesterday or last week, but the Home Run Derby needs to change. It does. Because when you're there, I've never been to a Home Run Derby, number one. So maybe I can't speak from that experience, but for people watching on television, one of the best parts of the Home Run Derby is watching how far the ball goes. 400, 420, 450, 480, maybe 500 feet. But with the way they do it now, it's hard to pay attention to where the ball's going to land. It used to be you're up to bat, you have unlimited attempts to hit a home run, but the moment you make 10 outs, you're done. We all remember that. 10 outs is basically anything that wasn't a home run. If you swung at it and it was a ground ball, that's an out. If you swing at it and you hit the wall, that's an out. If you swing and miss, that's an out. So you used to have players taking their time, going up there, hit a home run. Chris Berman would yell, back, 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 back. But you can't do that anymore, because the way they do the Home Run Derby nowadays is split screen, where one camera shows the batter and the other camera shows where the ball goes. The reason they do that is because it's now a timed event, and the pitchers, they're just rapid fire throwing these balls, and the batters are swing, get back in the box and get set. Swing, get back in the box and get set. So you can't sit there and watch one or the other. You can't watch them both. You got to watch one or the other. I just miss the fun of watching how far the ball goes. And they kind of took that away. Not fully, because there is still the half of your screen that will show where the ball lands, but I don't want the ball to be in the air, traveling, just clearing the fence, and the pitcher has already thrown another pitch, and he's already swung, and there's already another ball in the air. You could see where that kind of gets annoying. Hopefully. Maybe I am all on my own in this. And I wouldn't be surprised. I feel like I'm all on my own in my thoughts a lot because, well, I don't know much. But what I do know is the Home Run Derby is supposed to be fun. The All-Star Game, it's supposed to be fun. It takes away a little bit of fun when you can't sit there and admire the strength of these players. Also, in the world of sports, Jeff Passan, reporter for MLB, made an appearance on ESPN, and he said that he is incredibly concerned about a one New York Yankee team. And I know, producer Bill, that's music to his ears. The Yankees struggling, the Orioles ascending. When you look at the standings, Yankees 3 games back of the Orioles now, posting a beautiful 1-game losing streak. One of the hottest teams in baseball was the Houston Astros. They've cooled off slightly here over the last few games, including losing a couple in a row. But they had a good stretch there in June and early July, which has now put them 2 games behind the Seattle Mariners. So I don't know if there's concern for the Mariners, as they've been pretty bad recently as well. But you have the Astros, a team who, man, early in the year, they were bad. That was a bad team. And we thought, okay, it's finally the end. We don't have to worry about these Astros anymore. They're going to fall into obscurity. And they didn't. They put it together over the past few weeks, and here they are. 3.5 games back of the wild card, 2 games back of the AL West. So you can't count them out. If the season were to end today, if the MLB season were to end today, the Baltimore Orioles would be the top seed in the American League. The Cleveland Guardians and Seattle Mariners would be your other division winners. Orioles would play the Red Sox, if you believe that. And then you also have the Minnesota Twins and the Yankees as the other wild card teams. The New York Yankees, 55-37 on the year. Almost 20 whole games over 500. Yet there's panic for some reason with this baseball team. And it's not only fans now, but it's now the reporters who are panicked about this baseball team. And why are we panicking about it? Because we've seen it before from the Yankees. We talked about it the other day. We have seen plenty of times over the past 3 years where the New York Yankees start the season absolutely red hot. One of the best teams in the league to start this year. They were battling with the Phillies for a while for the best record in baseball. All of a sudden, we get to June. We get to late June. We're in July now. And what happened to those New York Yankees? 6-16, one of the worst records in baseball since June 15th. But yet there's still almost 20 games over 500. Whereas when we look at the National League, those teams are struggling to hit 500. We talked about that for a while, as well as, man, it looked for a while like the National League was just going to be terrible this year. Now, it's since been turned around. The National League looks a lot better, and I didn't think it was going to last the whole season. But there's no concern there. The concern is with the New York Yankees for some reason, as they have completely fallen apart. Still the third best team in the American League, which is, when you look at it, that's why you say, why is there panic? They're having a bad stretch, but they started the year so good that there's no reason to panic. Well, yes, there is. We talked about it the other day. All of the summer collapses that the Yankees have had, which is why the Orioles are now leading the American League East. They're actually the top team in the American League, and the Yankees are falling behind, which has analysts concerned. You know, nobody's concerned about the Phillies because the Phillies are winning with Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber out of the lineup. Nobody's worried about the Dodgers, even though the Dodgers are missing quite a few players. The worry right now seems to be with the New York Yankees as they continue to suffer these summer collapses. We got to go to our final commercial break here on the day. When we return, we'll talk a little bit more baseball. We'll get into the NHL because there is a news story there that I want to talk about. And I might touch on a little bit of NASCAR as well. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to The Scoreboard, and we will be back right after this.
More of Sports Director Joe Berg's The Scoreboard is coming up on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Well, it's just about as humid as it gets around here, and staying grossly humid for a while. You factor that in with low and mid-90s for high temperatures today. Feels like temperatures, heat index values could reach up into the triple digits. So dangerous heat if you're outside and you're not careful. A lot of folks still need some rain even after a lot of that over the weekend, especially the farms and outlying spots. No guarantees, but some better chances with scattered pop-up thunderstorms in the forecast each afternoon this week. That's your forecast for the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. This Thursday, July 11th, Untethered Soul makes their Langtree Live debut. The band is a unique, creative, soulful reimagination of the music that shaped American culture. Grab your chairs and head to Langtree in Mooresville for the 7 p.m. performance of Untethered Soul with frontman Nick Prestia. This Friday, Trailers of the East Coast in Mocksville present the Wilson Strong Cookout. From 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., stop by for a barbecue plate and sides in support of Matt Wilson. We'll see you at Trailers of the East Coast in Mocksville this Friday to support Matt with the Wilson Strong Cookout. On Friday, Envision rocks Liberty Park in downtown Mooresville. This first-class dynamic vocal group delivers a high-energy stage show complete with professional choreography and silky smooth harmonies. Liberty Park in downtown Mooresville welcomes you to the Envision concert on Friday night. The Kane Center for the Arts Week 5 of summer camps begins Monday, July 15th. Morning and afternoon camps for ages 4 to 15 include ceramics, drawing, painting, mosaic, mixed media art, and more. The Davidson Community Players present Footloose the Musical on August 8th, 9th, and 10th. For more information on summer camp programs and the theater schedule and tickets, visit canearts.org. That's C-A-I-N arts.org. The Cookout Summer Shootout Series heats up the track each week at Charlotte Motor Speedway. The 10-race series night number 8 is on Tuesday, July 16th. Visit charlottemotorspeedway.com for tickets, details, and information. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
Bob McIntosh here with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Serving this community has been a collective passion of our law firm since 1997. We offer the quality legal services and results you would expect from a large downtown firm, but with a personal, community-focused approach right here at home. The McIntosh Law Firm, your local legal resource.
To learn more about the McIntosh Law Firm, visit McIntoshLawFirm.com.
The Scoreboard with Joe Berg continues now on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, final segment here on the Scoreboard. Like I said, if you want to chat, 844-STUDIO-4 is the phone number. We'll be here for about another 10 minutes, so get on those phones, dial me up, and ask a question if you have it, or tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. You can do that, too. I won't be offended. I know. I understand. Don't worry. We were talking Major League Baseball, All-Star festivities right around the corner, the Midsummer Classic, and All-Star voting has been done. Rafael Devers is not going to be participating in the All-Star game. He has decided to opt out, even though he was voted in. So that's already one player that isn't going to be participating. As the third baseman tries to rest a shoulder injury that he's sustained this year. The other piece of news was from the Home Run Derby. We now have 6 players who have confirmed that they'll be participating in this year's Derby. The latest one, Jose Ramirez of the Cleveland Guardians, participating in his second career Home Run Derby. If you missed any of the show, you could always watch it again on our video streaming platforms, YouTube, Facebook, or as a podcast as well, wherever you get your podcast. Earlier in the day, we talked Copas and Euros for the soccer tournaments, as well as some NBA news, as we had a 6-team trade that took place over the weekend. Yes, a 6-team trade, which means 6 teams were trade. I don't even know how you facilitate that. It seems impossible to get 6 teams on the same page to agree on one thing, but somehow it was done. We see 3-team trades where the third team is just kind of a facilitator for cap reasons. This was different. This was a 6-team trade. I just don't understand it. 844-STUDIO-4. That's 844-788-3464. A little bit of NHL news. This one I find kind of funny. The Florida Panthers Yeah, they won the Stanley Cup. Reminder, they won. They beat the Edmonton Oilers. They have a practice rink at what's called the Iceplex, the Baptist Health Iceplex, which is in Fort Lauderdale. They painted the center line to have a Stanley Cup in it, and it looks pretty cool. If you want to take a look at it, it's on the NHL's website, nhl.com. But you see a lot of these teams have interesting paint for their center lines. Some notable ones, the Maple Leafs have a maple leaf all over the center line. The Hurricanes have just like a little black and red freckled in there. The Winnipeg Jets have an actual jet. Like they have the outline of a jet on their center line. The Calgary Flames have the C, the Calgary C. So a lot of teams put a little fun on their center line. The Stars, the Dallas Stars have a star. But now on the practice field for the Florida Panthers, they put a Stanley Cup on it. A bunch of miniature Stanley Cups. It's pretty cool, honestly. I think it looks pretty good myself. I just thought that was a fun little story out of the NHL. As, man, I told you that they were going to have their time to shine. The NHL had their time to shine, and now they're going to kind of disappear into obscurity for a little while. Going to be a lot of baseball news, a lot of summer sport news with soccer, the Olympics coming up, and then before you know it, we're going to be talking about preseason football. Now, I don't know how much longer we're going to actually have preseason football, with the expectation that in a few years, we're going to have an 18-game schedule, 19 weeks. The thought process here is that we'll have 2 bye weeks during the season. That way, the Super Bowl can be held on MLK Jr.'s birthday weekend, which means everybody will have Monday off. Well, most people would have Monday off, which is what the NFL has wanted, was a national holiday. Or at least that's what I would want, is a national holiday for the Super Bowl. They might get it if we go to this 18-game schedule. I think we're probably 2 years, 3 years away from that. I don't think we're going to be waiting long. More games, more money. It's very simple, and the NFL loves their money. We're going to end the day talking a little bit of NASCAR. Yesterday, we talked about Haley Deegan being dropped by AM Racing and the unfortunate story behind that. Alex Bowman got the win at the Chicago Street Course. Now, I didn't really go over the results with you guys. Bowman got the win, which, man, I don't know how many people actually expected Bowman to win this race. Tyler Reddick was able to finish second after hitting the wall trying to chase down Alex Bowman. Ty Gibbs third. Joey Hand, who was the leader of the race at the beginning of the final stage, he ends up fourth. Michael McDowell with a nice top 5. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 6th. Todd Gilliland 7th. William Byron 8th. Kyle Busch 9th. And Ryan Blaney P10. Some interesting names in the top 10 there. Joey Hand, Ricky Stenhouse, Todd Gilliland. Gilliland, I would expect him to have now we knew McDowell would have a good road course race. He's a good road course racer. But because he's part of Front Row Motorsports, I would have thought that Todd Gilliland would have a good run, but not like 7th place good. There was a time where during that race, I thought he might actually win. He was running so well. But Alex Bowman was able to lock himself into the playoffs. Now, NASCAR's senior vice president, Elton Sawyer, we love talking about what he has to say. He thought that the race was a success. He thought the tire strategies with the wet track and the drying racetrack were a success. I just want to know when we're going to be able to fully race in the rain. I'm not talking about ovals, because I don't know if we're ever going to have rain tires on Charlotte for the Coke 600. I just don't think it's possible. It's a lot harder. I would assume it's a lot harder to find a working wet weather tire for an oval versus a flat street track or even a road course. But that's where we are in NASCAR. There is a little bit of news today. Spire Motorsports announced early this morning that Rodney Childers will be atop the pit box for Corey LaJoie in a multi-year deal starting in 2025. I was having a conversation with some friends about this not too long ago, and why? You know, what's, and I get he's a free agent after the announcement earlier this year that SHR would be closing. But why Spire? Were the prospects that bad? I just don't find Corey LaJoie to be a very, I mean, I don't want to say he's not good, but I don't think he's going to be winning any championships anytime soon. Rodney Childers, he could crew chief someone to a championship, in my opinion. But that is the news out of NASCAR today. Spire Motorsports announcing that they will have Rodney Childers as the crew chief for the 7 car in 2025. And with that announcement, let's move to this day in sports history. There were a few good ones today. Okay. 1914, the Boston Red Sox purchased future Baseball Hall of Famer Babe Ruth's contract from minor league Baltimore Orioles. So this isn't Babe Ruth leaving the Red Sox to go to the Yankees. This is when the Red Sox got him. That was on this day in 1914. Also on this day, 1932, I found this one interesting. Yankees' Ben Chapman hit 2 inside the park home runs. I mean, inside the park home runs are rare to begin with. But on this day, in 1932, one player hit 2 of them. Now, I'm going to assume that this was at the old Polo Grounds, which, I mean, if you've ever seen the dimensions of that stadium, it's not surprising that you could get an inside the park home run there. And if you had a laser into the gap, it's going to roll 450 feet. So Ben Chapman hits 2 inside the park home runs on this day. 1948, at the age of 42, Satchel Paige debuted in the major leagues, pitching 2 scoreless innings for Cleveland in St. Louis. That was on this day. And we're going to end with this one, as recently Willie Mays passed away. It was on this day in 1963 that Willie Mays was the All-Star Game most valuable player. That's going to be the end of the scoreboard for your Tuesday. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in today. Hope you made it home safe and sound. It's hot out there. Everybody cool off. I'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. We'll talk a little soccer as we have the Copa America later on tonight. Canada and Argentina. Have a great night, everyone. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Until then, be good.